Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 Daily for this Tuesday night. Liverpool have been beaten 1-0 in the last 16 of the Champions League first leg away to Atletico Madrid, going down to an early goal. It's one of those games, it's one of those nights, there's lots to talk about in amongst it all, and I suppose we'll try pick the bones of this and have a look towards the second leg as well and what we can do to overcome this deficit. With me tonight, I have Keith and I have Chris, and we go through the whole game. We'll have a little look forward to West Ham, and we'll also, with any random stuff that comes in, the usual, this is how it goes. Of course, this show is brought to you by Paddy Power, a bookies, a website and an app. If you gamble, please gamble responsibly and try to do so with Paddy Power. Here we go. And here we go. It's one of those nights. It's very rare we come on here now and we talk about the defeat for Liverpool, and it's a small setback in my eyes with regards to the Champions League, but it's not one that can't be overcome. With me tonight, of course, I have Keith and I have Chris. Keith, I'm going to come to you first. There's uproar on Twitter. The word is there's uproar on Twitter. I haven't looked yet, and I'm probably going to stay away from it. Our away record in Europe, the midfield, this, that, and the other. But just going into it, the team's announced just before or at 7 o'clock tonight. It's the team we all expected. It's the team we all wanted, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly was. It was full strength. It's the boys that were coming back from injury, Mane and Fabinho had got minutes on Saturday, looked decent enough. So yeah, I was happy enough for it. But it didn't work out that way. There was a lot of players underperformed or couldn't get into the game for whatever reason. Well, from a good display by Atletico, it must be said, but we just never got a foothold in it. We couldn't have argued with the selection, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, but maybe it was the wrong selection.
Maybe so. I'm not too sure. There's arguments over maybe a change in midfield. Could have Keita have come in there, too early to start Mane. You could have those arguments, but I think, Chris, when that team comes out, surely we're all happy with it. All right, hindsight is a great thing when you look at the game and the way it panned out, but when you seen that team at 7 o'clock, did you think, nah, I would have went slightly different and done something different, or were you happy with it?
I was fine with it. I sort of shrugged the shoulders, went, yeah, pretty much what I thought. I think a lot of these, it's interesting, a lot of these things that come out now is like, this game isn't perfect, hence, and this midfield's not been right for a while. They don't put them out before the game. They're always like mid-game, news midfield was shite. I was like, if you're that confident, nail your bollocks to the mast before the game kicks. Say, I don't agree with this team. And see what happens. If you're right, you're right. But nobody ever does it. It was just fun. To us, it felt like one of those games. I know everyone hates that phrase, but we haven't had one of those games probably since Napoli. So, I know everyone talks about, it's not a great result. We've lost 6 out of the last 10 away from home. But, it's not like we've been, apart from probably Barcelona, it's not like we got battered. It didn't fall for us. Certain players, Trent didn't have the delivery that he normally has, but still created chances. It's the first game in a while I've seen where Mane's lost his head and had to be subbed. Yeah, which is very un-Mane-like. But, I'm more disappointed, but it's like, I'm not like, thinking it's over or thinking it's, it's horrendous. It's just like, it felt like one of the games, it just didn't quite click for us.
Yeah. There's plenty of comments coming in here. Steve S just says, good evening, lads. Good evening, Steve. Barry Carr says, 1-0 is not enough for them. Need to make it antsy for us. Kevin Sullivan says Hendo's hamstring. We'll have to wait and see, but Barry Carr reckons Hendo was okay. Nordred said the ref was brutal, but let's have Simeone back to Anfield, let him jump about in Airhouse and see how that goes. We get on to the referee later on. I'm not mad about talking about when we lose, but he probably is a talking point tonight. Let me see. Kevin Sullivan said Klopp just said that he felt his hamstring. Wait for the scan to see. Away in Europe, Klopp's kryptonite, question mark, says Jonathan Donoghue. It's not a bad question when you look, like Chris has just mentioned there, we lost 6 of our last 10. But I think they're... Do you know what? It's not like like if you look at the stats from that game tonight, we've a lot of the ball. We pass it a lot. We make some good chances. We just don't stick them away. I think it's a ruthlessness at times, and you know, when you look at Mane, he does lose his head a bit tonight. Didn't think Firmino was on it. Salah was a shadow of himself. I thought.
Klopp said Mane's not injured. Said I took him off because he was being targeted. So clearly that's manager's talk for. He's on a yellow and he's lost his head.
Yeah,
and I can't afford it. I think Klopp's subs though, to me, looked more not conservative, but kind of like I'm making sure it doesn't go more than one. And if we get equalised in the break, brilliant. But if not, he clearly decided. It's probably not happening tonight. We're not getting anything tonight because of form or things. He's probably just thought, I'm making sure it's a 1-0 and I'll take my chance at Anfield because it's pretty rare we don't score more than 2. It's pretty rare we only score 1 at home. We normally get 2 or 3. And I think that's gonna rumble them a little bit.
Yeah. You see, if it was 0-0 tonight, you'd be going to Anfield going, what way are they going to do this? With it being 1-0, you know exactly what they're going to do. They're basically going to do what they done from the 5th minute to the 95th minute tonight, and they're going to try all the dark arts, and that's fair enough. That they're well known for it. But we
did this against Villarreal, who are with a much inferior Liverpool side. And Liverpool always seem to be better when they know what's needed. You need to win by 2. Clear goals.
Yeah,
they seem to have that objective. They seem to be able to focus that. I'm always worried. The only time I worry Liverpool when they say like, "Well, a draw's enough," because I'm not sure you know how to play for a draw. I mean, it's quite a difficult thing to do anyway.
Yeah. Barry Carr says we have to mind the lads ahead of the second leg, forego the league game beforehand. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think that's in our nature, to be honest with you. Any comments you have, throw them in there. Any observations you have on the match, and I'll pick them as we go. And of course, we will have random stuff towards the end. Keith, it's not a great start. 4 minutes in, we concede. It's a corner in, and it's a missed header. It's an unfortunate bounce that kind of catches everyone flat-footed, and the guy finishes it. Alisson, like it's point blank. You know what I mean?
There's nothing the keeper
can do. He spreads himself, and your man manages to knock it in the net. But it's the worst possible start because if you're winning 1-0 and they get a goal back and they decide to hang on for 20 minutes and do the dark art stuff and the messing about, fine. But when you know there's literally 90 minutes left after they've scored, you're going, this is going to be a long 90 minutes. But looking at the goal itself, is there anybody you point blame at, or is it just one of those things where it's a missed header, it's unfortunate, and the bounce, it's a double whammy, a missed header and an unfortunate bounce, and it happens to land on one of theirs? Are we fuming?
No, I thought it was just one of them things that happens. We're very good defensively these days. It's not, a few years ago you could have pointed and said, it's our bleeding, it's our kryptonite defending corners or set pieces and all, but that's not the case now. Should have been clear. They shouldn't have got through to Fabinho to hit him on the foot like that. But look, these things do happen. It hit him, just rolled into the path. Perfect start for Atletico. I don't think we can really put too much blame again on the lads at the back, but I'm sure some will, and maybe yourself and Chris might see it differently. But I just thought it was one of them things that they happen from time to time, and the one time you did want it to happen against one opposition, and that was it. But look, these things, I hate when we lose, you know what I mean? You don't know what to be saying.
You lose a game, and you look. If we'd have went out there, like somebody, Owen Redmond says he was very worried Klopp was going to get sent off after his yellow. He looked very frustrated. Stephen O'Connor says 72 possession, no shots on target. Really was the story of the match. Dominated with no end product. No doubt in my mind we win this at Anfield. And Megan says that early goal for Madrid suited them down to the ground. Hopefully the Reds get the job done at home. That point Stephen makes though, we do dominate the match. It just seemed to me we did dominate. We passed. We opened up a couple of times, couple of good crosses, couple of decent chances, but it looked an off night from early for me. That's being honest with you. It looked one of those where where you go out, Keith, and you lose a game. Say away to Napoli. Do you remember we lost that game away to Napoli that time? And I think we get beaten 2-0 at the time. It's a late goal from Llorente. I think is it Llorente's playing with them at the time? No.
Yeah, it's a pen and then Llorente scores right at the end.
Yeah, and we play quite well in that. But if you go back to the one where we get beaten by Insigne gets the goal late on, and we were dreadful. And you just went, what? We are lucky to get 0. Tonight, all right, there's nothing on target, but it didn't feel like we were bad. It was just, I felt we were about 10% off it, Keith.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I thought, the first half, certainly, I thought the Atletico got that goal right. And as I said, the worst thing that can happen against a team like that, concede that early. But I thought we actually got into the game and didn't think Atletico were up to too much. They'll always be solid at the back, but I thought they were very nervy with the ball. I thought they gave away possession. I thought their midfield were getting pressed all over the place and were just hoofing balls away. You know, I thought we were doing okay, but the killer for me was the sign, was the chance when it comes to Salah off the Scaldi goal kick by Oblak, and the touch was just muck. Do you know what I mean? And Bobby had to touch it to stop it going through. And as soon as that happened, I thought to myself, this is going to be one of them nights for Salah. And I was actually in the toilet when he got the curly finger and got hooked, and my young fella shouted out to me, oh, that Salah's gone off. And I wasn't surprised, because I just, from that minute on, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of them games for Mo. Now look, he doesn't have that many of them. You know, he's more often than not he's going to be the hero. But just from that, when he had that touch, I thought it's going to be one of them for him. So I'm looking at Bobby or Sadio to step up. And as we seen with Mane, I thought he was unlucky and they were targeting him, in fairness. I don't think there was the second one, there was no cleared elbow. He was going up, lifting his arm or whatever to go up. And once they saw they're going down holding faces and waving bleeding elbows at the ref, you knew what they were going to do, and you knew what was coming. And if them boys aren't on it, where's the goals going to come from, you know?
Yeah. I think Mane's going to be a bit smarter, though. Especially when he got the early yellow, he just looked too wound up for it. Very unlike it. In terms of the goal, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but I do think, look, Van Dijk missed a header. Happens, fine. I can live with that. I think Fabinho's too flat-footed, and I'll be honest, I was surprised Fabinho wasn't hooked at any time in the game, because my only slight niggle with him is City's come back from injury. I think he's been off it a little bit, and I thought today, when Fabinho's off it, it slows us down, because he's normally one touch quickly out. It was one touch, two touch, three touch, which meant Trent, who didn't have his best game, but was always getting the ball, he'd have to take a touch, then look, whereas normally Trent, it's one touch, and he whips it. Whereas we were giving him the opportunity to hammer him. The only person who's doing quick one-touch football, didn't always come off, was Henderson. And I think there are times with Fabinho's off form, he doesn't do that. And look, I'm not Jurgen Klopp, but to me, I'd have thrown Keita on for Fabinho in the second half. Just because Keita, he will try things a little bit more. He'll try the extra through ball. It might not always come off, but that would have done. And we've seen with Henderson, he could play the 6 role pretty well. And I think it just might have been something a bit different to think out the box. Yeah,
there's plenty of people coming in here, like Jonathan Dunne, who makes the point that he felt that midfield is just too functional in Europe, not creative enough. We'll have a look at the midfield now in a minute. You know, Barry Carr and a couple of other people have said that they reckon, Carl Duff being another one, saying that he reckons that on the plane home, Klopp and the backroom boys will be working on a plan for Atletico already. There is 3 weeks between this game and the second leg, so we'll have to wait and see. Jonathan also follows that up, and he reckons Mane will make them pay at Anfield. Owen asks, was VVD at fault for conceding the goal scoring corner?
He should have cleared. He could have done better with his header.
Yeah, he could. It's a missed header, and it's a missed header. That's it. You know.
Yeah. It's early in the game.
But in terms of the corner, I mean, I think I only know the stats. It flashed up when we beat Norwich. That is now only the second goal we've ever conceded this season from a corner. So we don't, we're not bad at defending corners, which is probably what makes it, us concede one, such a bit of a kick in the teeth, because it's actually, amazingly for Liverpool, it's in 4 years gone from being our weakness to being our biggest strength. Is that actually when we get a corner, we're more likely to hit you on the break. This is probably the first time in a while we're just a bit off.
Yeah, just touching on the midfield, right? Because there's this word functional is being used, and it is a functional midfield. There's no doubt about that. It is a functional.
Does to the Champions League last season,
and it does the job what it used to do. And what happens is it's functional, and the reason it functions is it allows your fullbacks and your front three to go and cause havoc, right? Exactly. And when you look down at it, I think Henderson. Now, Wijnaldum wasn't great. I'm not saying Henderson was great. I'm not saying Fabinho was great. But I think we had enough of the ball there tonight for the likes of Firmino, Mane, although he loses his head, as you say. Salah, Robertson, Trent, to influence that game in a much more positive way, like they usually do. And I think it's quite easy at times to turn around and go, oh, the midfield's functional in Europe. Listen, if the midfield functions and the other lads function, we function very, very, very well. So
I think they're the most divisive players. In other words, everyone loves Trent, everyone loves Robertson. You know, we love the two centre backs. Everyone loves the front three. So they're kind of like, not the same type of players. They're kind of like the Danny Murphys of our team. In other words, they're the ones that if shit hits the fan, well, they're the ones to blame, because you're not going to blame the superstars as such. And that's just the way they are. If you speak to City fans, you know, it's the centre backs get it. You know, there's always some part of the team that everyone has to kick off about. And for us, it's the midfield. Christ knows why. You know, everyone has their favourites. And it just seems easy. But also, ultimately, they kept feeding the fullbacks. The fullbacks couldn't hit the ball.
But this is the point I'm trying to make. Like, when you look at the amount of passes Liverpool have, the majority of them passes were between our centre halves getting it out to the fullbacks. It'll be our midfielders getting it out to the fullbacks or getting it into Salah, Firmino, Mane. For me, the top end of the pitch was the problem tonight. Yeah. You know, when you actually look at the game as an overall, the top end of the pitch was the issue here. And there's only so much the midfield can do. Now, you can make the argument that, Gav, listen, you take off Wijnaldum, he wasn't playing well, you put in a Keita and you make it a little bit more creative, and maybe we're pinning them in a little bit. The Oxlade-Chamberlain one, I could see the sense in. I think Chris said to us before we come on air, you're probably hoping that he's a bit more probably physical than Keita, and he's a bit more direct, and he probably have a goal from 25 yards, and that might have been the way we were going to get through tonight, because the crosses that were going in the box weren't being finished, and at times there wasn't people there, you know. So it's just one of those, like, there's loads of people coming in with regards to the referee and different handballs and stuff like that, and we will get onto it. Stephen Hackett says Klopp needs to give them a boot up the hole after that. Keith, could it work in our favour? Could it be, listen, we played okay against Norwich and we won. We've come out here tonight, we've played okay, but we haven't been clinical and we haven't been our optimum going forward. I thought defensively we were grand. You know what I mean? For an away game in Europe against Atletico Madrid. But do you think that this could be one of those, like, right, lads, we've had a rusty one against Norwich, we've had a rusty one there, and now it stops?
Yeah, I mean, look, I know we'd spoke as well earlier, and some people might think that 1-0 is the worst possible result you can get from that first leg. But in a way, it's a result that, you know, they can galvanise the crowd. If the Anfield crowd can get behind the team now, you know, and get full, you know, behind them for the next leg. Whereas Atletico had that, like, Atletico's game plan is always be solid, and they're the best defensive team in Europe. You know what I mean? I'll put my hand up and say I was an absolute gobshite throwing out shouts of easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
I said we'd score 3
tonight. You know, I said the same, and I'll be the first one now to say.
I thought they'd play a flat back 4. I thought R3 could get at them. I thought with the loss of Trippier off right full, they might lose a bit of impetus down the right hand.
Their form hasn't been great, and I thought, you know, but the football man was saying, no, that won't be the case. And, you know, I fell for it. You know, I fell for it, and, you know, it was, you look back now, right, maybe it was a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, I still think we do have a great chance now in the second leg, because we'll know what we have to do. And Simeone, he's like he's leading an orchestra on the side of that pitch. You know what I mean? He bounces around, clapping his hands, raising them off. It's probably why they're paying 43 million a year to do all that stuff. But he won't be getting that in Anfield. You know, we have to counter that and use it to our advantage. Yeah. You know, try and harness that. Like, we've come back from worse. You know what I mean? So I don't know why everyone would be losing that shit.
They absolutely have. Like Dylan says there, let's not all be doing and gloom. Bad performance, 72% possession will give most teams a win. It will. He said it's just an off day. Absolutely. But listen, we talk and we I don't know, we wax lyrical about this Liverpool side week in, week out. We have done for God knows how long at this stage, going back to probably the start of last season or even beyond that. You know, definitely beyond that, you know. But when you lose a game, you still have to pick out the issues that are there in the game. You know, I think the main issues for me was the top end of the pitch. You know, I think the midfield, okay, there's an argument to put something more creative in there, pin them in a little bit, and let Keita get on the ball and see what he can do, because he is more creative than Wijnaldum and he is more creative than a Henderson in those positions. There's no doubt about it. But it's like Trevor Villa says there, no need to panic. We'll overpower them at Anfield, 6th in the league. The cream always rises. Listen, they've got exactly what they wanted there tonight, but they'll know coming to Anfield that this is, you know, at Anfield, like they got away with, like you were saying, Simeone there, he's manning an orchestra. At Anfield, he won't get away with that. And as much as the ref may have been, you know, not intimidated. Yeah, he was poor, but intimidated by Atletico tonight, or, you know, leaned on, or he was swayed. Anfield does the exact same thing. You know, when the reverse fixture comes around.
No, now look, we'll get Martin Atkins. The rest of the
Yeah,
business.
Ginny Joe Allen, which is a brilliant name, by the way. Do we shoot enough, lads? Like to see us have more pops at goal, especially against that defence. It's a fair point, and I think that's where the Oxlade-Chamberlain team may have come in. Barry Carr says Simeone is really for the crowd. I think his team is set up fine from the off. Our away form is a worry, though, says Mark Chilcott. We just don't seem as confident as in the Premier League.
We also play better teams, though. There is also that.
We do play better teams, but when you play, and I suppose, Chris, you play better teams that are looking at you going, these are fucking awesome. So you play better teams that will step back a little bit. And Chris, come on, Atletico is suited them. It suited them down to the ground, didn't it?
Of course it did. 1-0 suits them. I mean, I know we had a lot of the ball. I mean, that is their game plan. They do like that. But in terms of the shooting more, it wasn't. I don't think it's that we were shot shy. We weren't getting ourselves in the right positions to get a shot off, because Liverpool of 4 or 5 years ago would be shooting from all sorts of crazy angles just to get a shot off, and you'd be like, "This is pointless." We have generally been a bit more of a patient side now. It just again, I also talk about it, it didn't come off for us. I mean, as for the no shots on target, I'm not quite sure whether the Salah one doesn't count as a shot on target. I know it's nitpicking, but if it doesn't hit the fellow in the face, it's going in. It's on target. It's called a block shot. I know, but
block shot. I think yes. So
there's a class of different stat. Maybe that's the reason. You know, and in terms of not shooting, you know, Henderson's half a yard wide. You know, it's not like we've got the worst chance of the whole night was our mate Salah, who I don't know how he managed to head it wide. It was more difficult to miss than it was to get it on target. Yeah.
Trevor, reckon. Go on.
And in fairness, I didn't know Gomez had that sort of cross in his pocket. In fairness, I was quite impressed with that deep cross he brought in.
Yeah, Trevor says Naby should have been on for Hendo in his opinion. Run at them and commit. Definitely should start the second leg regardless. Well, it'll have to. We'll see what happens in 3 weeks. You know, he could be in the team regardless if Henderson's hamstring is gone and he's out for a couple of weeks. Anyway, Barry Carr wants some random questions. So does Dylan. Give me about 5 minutes and we'll definitely get on to them. But he does ask, what's your favourite thing to throw in frustration?
Mickey fit.
Mickey fit. Yeah, there's okay. But listen, we get on to the random stuff in a couple of minutes. Adonis Robert, I think is his name. Do you rate Oxlade-Chamberlain? Yes, I do. I don't like seeing him up front in a tree. Yeah. And in midfield, he's definitely an asset. He absolutely is an asset. Just certain games, like most players, certain games suit him a lot more than others, you know. But look, we move on a little bit from it. We lose the game 1-0. You know, there's Simeone, there's the whole thing going on. And we just have to look at ourselves and go, listen, they've beaten us 1-0 at their place. We're well good enough to turn around and go, we beat them 1-2 or 3 at theirs. You know that way. It's not like it's the last chance saloon. Well, it is a last chance saloon because you get knocked out. But I mean, it's not doom and gloom where you go, oh, they've beaten us 1-0. We can never score against this team. I think it's one of those where, Chris, I suppose, when we get to Anfield, we just have to show up and beat Liverpool. And if we show up and beat Liverpool, you'd have to be very confident, Chris, regardless of what happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be amazed if we go through 2 legs and not score. I mean, that's first time since Napoli we haven't scored. It's so rare that we don't score. I'm not saying we're always going to win, but you know, it's so rare these days that we don't score. We have lots of options, you know, and even players who are a bit random, like Origi. You know, his touch today was horrendous, but he has this thing there. He has one bit of magic which nearly sets up Henderson, and I think that's what Klopp pays for. And we've got enough players like that. So. We'll have to see. I mean, you know, if we can beat Barcelona 4-0 with half our team out, I don't know why people are worried that we can't beat Atletico. I'm not saying it'd be easy. But
the thing about it tonight, I'd say, is, you know, we had a full strength, what would be deemed as our first 11 out there tonight. Mm-hmm. We didn't lose that game and play our best. We lost that game by all our key attacking threats being off it. Trent, I thought, was off it, and the front three were off it. Now, if we can have, you know, Trent playing 10%, 20% better at Anfield, and even one of them forwards, I think we can easily beat them.
I think.
Do you know what I mean? But it just went against us tonight, and we have, like, we're not, you know, no team is infallible, and you will always have games where you're not going to win, and the rub of the green you don't get. I don't want to complain too much about the ref tonight. He was absolutely shocking. But when you lose, I prefer to complain about ref when you win because it doesn't sound like sour grapes.
But
you know what
the thing is? I want to go on to the ref, Keith, and I know you don't want to give out to him, but
I know I will. I'm happy to do it.
I know you will, and I'm going to give. I'm not going to say anything about the referee, right? But I'm going to let you two do it because if the three of us have a go, like we'd be accused of bullying. Yeah. So Chris, I'm going to come to you, and something. Sometimes when you give out about a ref, you go, "Oh, look, he was too soft there. He was too soft here. He was too soft there." But there was obvious stuff tonight for me, Chris, where you go, "That's just completely obvious."
Yeah, he was weak. He was weak, which played into their game. And look, if fair play to them, if you identify early that he's not strong, this ref, and he's quite easily going to fall for all this. Of course, you do it. But I mean, the example I give is one of the guys fouls Fabinho, hurts himself. We're on the attack, and he goes, blow up. I want to check he's okay. It's not a head injury. It's not a broken leg. So that's one. One of the guys handballs it. He signals the handball. It falls to Fabinho, who's clattered, and he goes, well, you've had the advantage. Carry on. You're going, that's not how advantage works. And then he books KLOPP for complaining about the handball. You're going, what do you want from him? But, he was... Look, don't get me wrong. We didn't lose that because the ref was shit. It was a factor which we could have done without, but we were just too slow, and the final ball wasn't good enough. And I'll maintain that's what lost it for us. And unfortunately, if the opening 10 minutes had been we were a bit more wide awake rather than sleeping, I think we get out of that worst case of a 0-0. Because to us, I think they were dying for a 0-0. I think 1-0 is probably their wildest dreams, and by their reaction, they think they're through. You could tell by their reaction they think they're through, which I think is quite a dangerous way of acting.
I'd say they're thinking they come to Anfield, they'll score 1, we'll need 3, and they're fully confident in themselves that they'll stop Liverpool scoring 3. I wouldn't be if I was them, I'm being honest with you. I think if it would have been a 1-1 tonight, they'd have a more chance of going through than a 1-0, and I know how stupid that sounds, but a 1-1, Liverpool mightn't be as intense, we'll take a draw, like someone said earlier there, we don't know how to play for a draw, but when we're told a draw is enough, how do we do that? Whereas Liverpool are going into this now, and fans, manager, backroom staff, players, everybody will be absolutely full steam ahead on this. Keith, the referee for you, like people are saying there, the KLOPP Table podcast says ref was an absolute joke. And wait till the return leg.
He was brutal. Like, he was shy. Every touch on an Atletico player was getting called up. Yeah, it wasn't for us. You know what I mean? And you're talking about, they were diving before the contact. Vitola, when he came on, done 3 or 4 of them. Morata in the first half, like, they were literally going down before the contact was coming in, and every time he was calling her up. I mean, he's again, we're pulling back play for Correa getting a whack on the blade now on the shin, and we're stopping play for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's referees, and look, they need to be stronger. They need not to be influenced. But I hope we get one that we can influence the shite out of now at Anfield.
I always get that ref we got for the Barca game. We've had him about 3 times, partly because we've had big wins. That's why we like him. I think it's Turkish, the fella, but he's quite good. As in, he doesn't say no nonsense, and he will let the game flow. But obviously, he doesn't let it. He won't let us go over the top. But he will. He's going to get. He tends to not let all that shenanigans that you normally see. But because Barca and Suarez are very good at it. He didn't get involved in any of that. He kind of ignored that. For life, I can't remember his name. I'm sure it's a Turkish ref we've had before a few times. If we get him, he's quite good. He's quite good. He's quite strong.
I don't know what ref we're going to get, and we just have to see. Barry Carr says KLOPP proper bit his tongue after the game. Avo the Third says KLOPP was furious in his interview, and Robbo. He says, sorry, I've just joined in, and just in case we've covered all that. Jonathan Donahue says, my shout about them, 1-1 being better than 1-0 for them, is up there with the 3-goal shout. Listen, I just can't help being confident about this side, and when I sat down and thought about it, I could see us. I'll put it to this way.
I know where you're coming from.
No, if you watch that game tonight and I say to you, Salah, Firmino and Mane are 5% better than they were tonight, which they weren't good, but if you give them an extra 5%, I think we walk away from there with 3 goals. And
Yeah.
that's how tight it is. Although people would say, we've none on target. I think we score 2 or 3 if they have 5% more in them tonight. That's just the way I feel about it.
I know where you come from, because if you said to me, we need to win 1-0, rather than at the moment we need to win by 2, I feel more confident when Liverpool know they have to score at least 2.
Yeah.
1-0, I always think, but it was like when we went through against Napoli, where 1-0 was enough. That was horrendous to watch. That was horrible. Whereas when you said, like, you got to win 2 or 3-0, I'm always a bit like, well, that suits Liverpool, because they can still keep it tight at the back, but I think they know that. I'd hate to go into a game having to just win 1-0, because I think it's too tight.
Yeah. Well, look, the random questions can start absolutely lashing in now, and we go for the last 14, 15 minutes, whatever we have left. When I say that, it usually ends up being 25, 26, 27 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. Jonathan Donoghue admires me confidence. Well, listen, you have to be confident in this side. You know,
why wouldn't you?
I'm going out. I'm still looking at that game tonight, going, you know, yeah, we lost it, but I'm no less confident we go through than I was at 7:59 tonight. You know, that kind of way. Grizz says, great pod, Gav. Grizz has this thing now where he tells everybody he's done a great pod. I don't know why he's typing into this, because when I asked him to come on tonight, he said he was doing a podcast with somebody else. So that must have been cut short, or he hasn't started yet. But listen, Grizz.
Or he lied. And
he's cheating on me and stuff like that. But listen, I wish you all the best in that podcast, if it hasn't gone ahead already. But what a guy, Grizz is just the business.
Did he counsel if he's left you?
No. Me and Grizz will never be torn apart. Dylan says, Kick-Ha, the 4-finger version or the chunky version?
4-finger.
Yeah.
4-finger?
Yeah.
Oh my God, lads, that shocked me.
I'm not really into the chunky ones.
The chunky ones are amazing. Remember they done all. Remember the podcast was cancelled tonight on Grizz, which I hope. I think that's a disgrace, leaving a man like Grizz around, waiting around to do something like that, and then
you don't get a second chance. You don't get a second. I hope they know that.
You don't.
I hope he still gets his fee.
He's a strong, confident woman, and he won't be messed around by nobody. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised at the 4-finger show.
It's more of a treat.
I don't know.
Full lots of chocolate.
Yeah, I liked Jonathan Donoghue, who says, who's blocked more people on Twitter, Grizz or Hendrick? I'm not too sure, but I can tell you now for nothing. I had hold of Grizz Can's account, right? And because he lost a bet. And I can tell you the people he usually blocks there are being racist to him. And I'm being honest with you, and listen, me and Grizz slag each other all day long. And I mean all day long, it never stops. We went through a period last week of not speaking to each other for 3 days because we just had an argument about something stupid. But I can tell you most of the people that Grizz Can blocks do be abusive and racist to him. And that's from me. I'm guaranteeing you that, because I unblocked all of them on him one day as a punishment, and he wasn't impressed.
He was made up.
He wasn't impressed. He wasn't impressed. The chunky one, the chunky Kit Kat, says Kevin Sullivan, as a dunker for your tea. Much better than 4-finger.
See, that it's too big. I don't like the size of it.
Right.
Are you intimidated by it?
No, I'm not. I'm not intimidated by size now, Chris.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I just prefer the 4-finger one. I just think it's more. A Kit Kat wouldn't be my weapon of choice now if I was going for a bar of chocolate. So, you know, if I'm going for a Kit Kat, I'll have the 4-finger one.
Right.
If I wanted something bigger, I wouldn't be going for a chunky Kit Kat. No.
What would you go for?
I don't know what to say now, Chris, because I feel if I go for something big, there'll be an innuendo there as well. So
that's how I work, but you know.
Yeah.
Come here.
I'll say I'll go for Galaxy Ripple if you give me the choice.
Oh man, I've 2 of them in the kitchen.
Oh, that's just not fair.
They're amazing. They're selling them in the shops at the minute, like 4 of them for like £2. They're amazing, and they're still big. Like, they're not reducing in size all the time. Which is really
Galaxy
good.
always do it a solid like that. They're not like the money grabbers in Nestle or Cadbury's.
Come here, do you ever go into a shop to buy a roll? You know, like a roll, and you can get whatever you want now. And you get. Have you ever seen people that go in? Because Dylan's reminded me by talking about chicken fillet rolls again. But do you ever see people that go in and go, "Can I have a roll, but take the bread out of the middle of it"?
No.
What?
You ever seen that?
That's mad.
Have you never seen that?
No. The bread out sounds like a shell, a big shell.
Yeah. Like or a soft rolled shell. Yeah, someone has to comment and tell me that they've seen this before. Yeah, people
Would that
will
be
go,
like some shy bag losing weight or something? Would it
I
just
don't.
get the bread out of the badness? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
but,
the maddest thing I've heard you say in ages.
no, and I say mad stuff.
I
But,
know.
but no, genuinely, I've seen people go into shops and go, "Can I get a French baguette?" That's what they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you know, can you just take the bread out of the middle of it? Seriously,
That's weird.
seriously.
That's best.
Dylan says, "You're out and about. What's your dessert of choice?" Dylan is mad into food.
Loves the field, doesn't he?
He's
I
absolutely
like
mad.
Dylan. It's alright. I like Dylan. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. You're out and about. What's your dessert of choice? Sticky toffee for him.
Yeah, sticky toffee's nice. You don't get it everywhere, but don't you know? I like sort of pavlovas and meringue shy, things like that.
Yeah.
And I like a meringue.
Yeah, well, you have to treat yourself. You're drinking cabbage water all week. You're absolute lunatic.
Well, that's it. It's all good.
Would you do a pavlova in the air fryer?
You can, if
Yeah.
it heats the fucker up. Do you know how
Absolute
you'll
life.
get onto the air fryer cake business? You put like baking paper, parchment paper into the tray of it, and then you're filling. Cooks it. Great.
Jonathan backs me up and says a girl he used to work with did that with regards to taking the bread out of the roll. He said it's for diet reasons.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Yeah, but they're probably lashing. Give us, 2 sausages, 2 eggs, 2 hash browns, and a load of red
Yeah,
sauce,
yeah.
and take the bread out of the middle. It's like going into McDonald's and ordering 40
A Diet
quid worth of
Coke.
food and a Diet Coke. It doesn't make.
Do you want
Ginny Joe
mayo
Allen?
or butter?
Ginny Joe
Both.
Allen says, he said fries chocolate, yay or nay?
Oh no, I hate that bleeding stuff. Heartburn shy. The mint one wasn't too bad,
Oh,
but
that's
the
it,
original
that's
one.
it.
Oh,
Fries,
like the
they're
mint
both
one.
mint, the blue one.
no, the blue one is just fucking nothing. It's just heartburn wrapped in chocolate.
I think it's
No,
nice.
I like the mint one.
Yeah, there's a green one as well, peppermint one.
Yeah.
It's the mint one.
I think my dessert's probably cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love,
any fruit combo. Anything I like, to be honest.
Yeah. Ginny Joe Allen said he's sitting there eating an apple with peanut butter. He said it's delicious. I think
That's weird. That's a bit mad, though.
Yeah, I think
Now we're talking tenement food. Love it.
it's like
Coming
it's-
down from my level.
It's just fucking strange. I'd say the room is real dark and all. Avo says we used to get a crusty loaf, take the bread out of the middle and fill it with chips. Now, hold on.
A crusty loaf.
So an unsliced
Alright,
loaf.
the full
take it-
loaf.
Yeah.
Right.
take the middle out of it. It was that for
'Cause I was
diet-
thinking
that's
it
not
was
for dietary
sliced.
reasons. You can't start lashing, bags of chips into a roll or into a loaf of bread and going dietary reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jonathan Donoghue says, watching, great question this, by the way, strap yourselves in. Watching Naked Attraction on E4, he says, at the moment, which day tripper would get picked by a woman?
Okay.
Oh,
Gav, I'll let you roll with this one.
You know all the day trippers.
I know them all intimately. Whether
Shawnee Lawson's a good-looking lad,
Shawnee
isn't he?
Lawson is fucking amazing. Shoulders.
He's not as good looking as Paddy Lawson, but he's up there.
All the Lawsons are great, man.
They are.
Can you like that? It's sickening to see them all. That you know what I mean. But
And then you've got-
Shawnee is like Alison Becker. Like you know what I mean. It's
Yeah,
mad.
he is. So,
Then you've got Big Joe Walsh. Big Joe Walsh is a hunk of a man as well.
Big Joe
Steve-O.
Walsh is 4'8", but he's called Big Joe Walsh for a reason.
Steve-O,
So
yes. Steve-O is Steve-O's a 10. You know what I mean? Steve-O's the sort of fella that makes appointments to get his hair done and everything. He's good.
I heard Emery Chan has a Steve-O poster on as well.
Yeah, yeah. He wears Steve-O daily pajamas. Let me see. If you're into your relatives, well, hold on.
If you
Dylan says if you're into your relatives' fries, is the chocolate. If you're into your relatives' fries, is the chocolate you want? That makes no sense to me. It makes no
could be a
sense. to me.
typo or two in there.
Yeah. So just to answer Jonathan, Big Joe Walsh, any of the Lawsons, and Davo's a good-looking bloke as well.
He is. He's a rugged. He has a lumberjack vibe about him.
Yeah, he has. He is good. He is good. Avo asks, "What's wrong with the tenements?" No, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just the same we have. Tenements. It's just one of those things. Steve-O will be gone before they got to the hair, says Jonathan Donoghue. Yeah, that's a fair point as well. That's a fair point. Nilo in with a show. You have to find Nilo first to get him on the show. We can't even find him. Is there any more random questions? We'll wait and see. But lads, no, seriously, that is a thing where people take stuff out of the roll now. But back to the air fryer. Are you still trying to convince me that you can put a cake in an air fryer and it produces a cake.
I sent you the documentation on this.
You sent me the brochure,
Told you.
the manual for it.
And they had 3 recipes: a cheesecake, a crumble, and a chocolate cake.
Right.
You know, what more do you want? Philips wouldn't lie to you. Philips make the air fryer.
Right. I'll have to do a bit more research.
I haven't tried it yet, but...
Okay. 4 a.m. in the morning. You get up, you need to go to the toilet. Do you have a stand-up or a sit-down piss?
I'll let someone else answer this first.
Come on, Chris.
What was the question again?
4 a.m. You wake up, you need to go to the toilet. Do you do it standing up or sitting down?
Depends how pissed I am. Normally standing up.
Okay. Yeah, standing up for me. Keith is definitely sitting down. Yeah.
But that's because I'm very thoughtful, you know what I mean? I don't want the splashy sound, so I try to do it as silently and as stealthy as possible.
Yeah,
and
you
I
just
just
better
feel
off going out in the back garden.
A sitting down one is probably the the quietest. So that's what I do.
Dylan says not food related. He loves them moments on 4 states when the person asks, "Do you want to see this person again?" and they say no. How bad 4 states like?
It's ruthless industry, isn't it?
Ruthless. It is ruthless, isn't it?
Funny though.
Yeah. It's and you get someone pouring their heart out going, I really like them. There's a spark there. I definitely want to see them again. And then someone comes in and goes, do you want to see them? No. No, we are all right now. I think Friends is the best thing. You know, this person's gone from marrying this other person to, I think Friends is a good idea.
You can see their heart breaking on the screen, like through that top.
Ginny Joe Allen. Go on.
You can hear that song, can't you? Hello, Darkness.
Yeah, Hello, Darkness, my old friend, yeah. Ginny Joe Allen in Breaking News says he has one of them fryers. He said they're shy.
He mustn't have the Philips air fryer to make his cakes in.
Okay. Let me see. It's John Dunny says it's safer to sit down with when you're standing to attention, let's just say.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me see. Listen to a pod once about Dylan says he listens to a pod once about how 2 people's what? Oh no, I can't read that out. I can't read that out.
I'm looking for that.
Hold on, let's do pod about. Right, okay. Dylan, I'll read it out. Okay. So he listened to a pod once about how 2 people wiped their arse. One fella said he sat down but scrunched the tissue up. This is a podcast. Look, I know me and Andy are bad, but Jesus Christ. He hasn't, and Dylan hasn't been right since he heard it.
I don't think I'm going to be right.
He sits down, scrunches up the jack's roll and wipes his arse.
Yeah.
But does he go from front to back or back to front?
Doesn't know. Dylan will have to fill us in. Or just give us the name of the podcast.
What's the story?
I'll definitely go and listen to that. You know, there's a lot of stuff about arses and pisses and everything tonight. I don't know why.
What happens when we lose?
I know it's what I lost us to you.
Yeah, we've gone absolutely toilet talk, like, you know. I don't think there's anything else, is there? Barry Carr asks, how far would you jump off that cruise ship in Japan? What cruise ship in Japan? What's going on in Japan? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, let me Google it.
Yeah, okay. If someone wants to update me on that cruise ship in Japan, is it sinking?
Give us a bit, put a bit of context on this one, Barry. Give us a bit of background.
Barry has to stop presuming that we actually, live in the world where people look at news.
Pay attention.
You know, exactly.
If it didn't happen in the Liverpool match tonight, we don't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. Avo asks, is the tenement thing like Northsiders or Culchies? It's exactly like that. Yeah, you're catching up fast, Avo. It's exactly like that. Ginny Joe Allen is wondering, does keep wipe forward or backwards?
Well, again, I wipe front to back.
Right, okay.
Because I think going back to front, then you're just creating an awful laden situation for your undercarriage. So definitely front to back.
Okay, I have an update on the cruise ship. The cruise ship has been out at sea for 3 weeks or so, and it's full of the coronavirus.
Oh.
And there's Irish on board it as too, says Ginny Joe Allen.
Fucking hell.
You know what you do? What's Barry asking? How far if you're on the boat, can you get off it?
Yeah. Which deck are you jumping off from, the top or halfway down? Depends on what the cruise ship is.
Are they all? They're all riddled with it, are they?
Like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's a 28 days later job, that, isn't it, when they come off that? You know what I mean? Are they going to go out and quarantine this thing there and then? Where it sits?
It's technical quality because you can't get off.
Oh, Peter Jones asks, would you rather try cook a cake in an air fryer or cook a Mars bar in a deep fat fryer?
Has anyone tried them battered
Mars bars?
I never tried it, yeah.
I've never tried.
Used to,
I've never tried one either.
Yeah.
used to be a chipper in Pear Street in Dublin that done them.
Yeah, it's a big thing in Glasgow,
battered
isn't
curly wurlies and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
JJ Babas, do you get news in Ireland? Yeah, we do, but we don't. Well, you see, in Ireland, what happens is, right? Let me put it to you this way, JJ, right? There's a coronavirus going on in the world, right? And people are dying, and they can't move from country to country to country, right? And then what happens is, we get 5 minutes of snow, right?
Yeah.
And we start wondering about fucking bread. Right? And the coronavirus...
The other stuff goes.
Literally, I swear to God, the coronavirus could be in one aisle of the shop, okay? The snow comes down outside, and the bread is in the aisle next to the coronavirus aisle, and people will absolutely plough in there for the bread. And fuck the coronavirus. That's how Irish people work.
And that thinking would be that the snow would kill the coronavirus in anyway. Because the snow kills everything.
You know what I mean? So
listen by us. There's the coronavirus. There's a hospital in the world where they're obviously taking people who've got coronavirus, and that news lasted the whole of an hour before everyone went, "Fucking hell! There's a storm coming. I'm going to get wet. I'm going to get into work." That's all everyone talked about.
Yeah.
No one's talking about coronavirus. We're talking about this storm's coming and it's cancelled me football. This is shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Like Paddy Carr says there, Ireland is all about government. And anyone that doesn't know what's going on in Ireland with regards to the government, we voted, okay, and now nobody wants to go into government. They're all pretending they do, but they don't. So now you've three parties wandering around trying to find other independent people and smaller parties to join to make a government, and nobody wants to go in with each other. You know,
so we'll just have another election about it as well.
We'll have another election. We'll have another election, right? And it'll probably turn out close enough to the same. And then they go, we have to do something here, and we'll end up with a government with all sorts of messing going on. But don't worry. The biggest thing that can happen here is if someone gets into government and we don't agree with it, all they want is a half hour of snow. And if they get a half hour of snow at any stage, we'll forget who's in government because we'll be worried about bread. Do you know what I mean? JJ says he's won 2 tickets for the Everton game. Are we going to win it there? I genuinely believe we are going to win it there, yeah. I genuinely believe
it's looking that way, isn't it?
Yeah. I still hope for Bournemouth.
I think you need a miracle.
Yeah.
I do, but you know, that's what this club does. So you know,
I think
they can make it happen for me.
I think you need a miracle. Anything else in your world, Keith, you'd like to discuss before we go?
No, nothing. I'm a bit distracted here. Naked Attraction is after coming on, and we've got a female picker, right? And the screens have gone up, and we've got couples and all behind these screens. I don't know what's happening. I'm lost. I'm gone.
Right.
Head's gone.
Head's gone.
Head is gone.
Right. Okay. So you're into that Naked Attraction now?
No, I was flicking and it just was on. So I thought it was, a coincidence that we were just talking about it.
Okay.
What are you flicking?
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay, there's nothing going on in Keith's world apart from the fact that he's found Naked Attraction. Peter Jones asks, last one, fruit gums or fruit pastels?
Fruit gums.
Fruit gums, yeah.
Can I have the I don't really like either of them. What's the little ones? The little ones with the sugar on them. Jelly tots.
Jelly tots.
Yeah, jelly tots.
Have them.
And I prefer the Tang Fastics, the real bleeding sour yolks. Yeah. They're all right.
Okay. Let me see. Newly married couples probably divorcing due to cabin fever on board the cruise. You never know. They might have apple pods, and they'll hear this, and it'll brighten them up a little bit. So that's all we can hope for. Or not.
Can't be any worse.
No. Well, it could if you have to listen to us three idiots for an hour.
Talking about toilet ethics.
yeah, and making up complete lies about air fryers. Let me see. No, that's about it. Chris, have you anything going on in your life you'd like to discuss before we go?
No, I'm just waiting for all these Liverpool women's games to get reorganised. There's about 3 now. I'm waiting to get reorganised.
Yeah, well, you need to sort of pitch out.
Yeah. Oh, we're playing at Chester at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit.
To be fair, Chester like?
I'll be honest. Chester Stadium probably suits it. It's a smaller ground. So it's a bit more because it's smaller. the players I've spoken to have said they prefer Chester because I said they can really hear the crowd because obviously because it's such a small ground, and they can hear obviously all the chants. Whereas because Tranmere is quite big, it kind of gets drowned out a little bit. My daughter is going to be playing her third ever football game on Sunday, so I'm quite excited.
Nice one. Jonathan asks, favourite TV sitcom, The Office or Peep Show for me?
Only Fools and Horses.
I love Only Fools and Horses. But there was one that come up there on the Channel 4 app tonight. And I can't remember the name of it. It's a comedy.
Misfits.
No, it's not Misfits. It's a comedy. And when I flicked on it, it looks like it's just a girl and a fella starring it. I can't remember the name, but I'll think of it and I'll bring it on. I'll ask people about it on the next show we do, which will probably be, what day is today? Tuesday? We'd probably come in Wednesday or Thursday and do something. Barry Carlock's Phone Jacker. There's one there. No, it's a comedy and I can't remember the name of it. It's like Disasters or it's something
Catastrophe.
like Catastrophe. That's it. Yeah.
Sharon Horgan.
Any good?
I've not seen it. Is it any good?
Yeah, it's all right. I watched the first few seasons of it. It's all right.
Okay, right. I'll have a look. Phone Jacker I never watched.
It got tiresome very quickly.
Yeah, I'd say it is one of those where it's same thing over and over and over again. Somebody asked, when are you on next, Gav? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Definitely Friday. Definitely Sunday. And we'll try for in something tomorrow or Thursday as well. See how we go. Right. We're out of here. That's been the Fatback 4 Daily for tonight. Liverpool have been beaten, but don't worry about it. They'll be grand. We're the best team in the world, and we'll go and prove that in 3 weeks. And God love David Moyes and West Ham next Monday night. That's all I'll say. Over and out.
Up the Reds.